The deep sea between Turkey and Greece is a graveyard for ancient shipwrecks. Many still lie undiscovered at the bottom of the ocean, fragments of history that remain beyond reach thousands of years later. Now, one of the greatest undersea explorers in the world, Robert Ballard, is trying to uncover their secrets. You may know him as the man who discovered the Titanic, but what he couldn't say then is that he was on a clandestine 2 decades until the mission was declassified. Tonight you'll hear how that mission helped him find the most famous wreck in modern history, and about Ballard's many other discoveries in his 50 years at sea. When Ballard took us with him to hunt for ancient shipwrecks off the coast of Turkey, we made an extraordinary find even he didn't expect. To get to Bob Ballard, we had to make a journey of our own to what used to be one of the great crossroads of civilization. For thousands of years, ancient mariners passed through these beautiful but treacherous waters to the place where the Aegean Sea meets the Mediterranean. Many of them didn't make it, their ships sinking deep below, as far as 2,000 feet down, never to be seen again. That's where we found Bob Ballard.
Okay, on the rise. Welcome aboard.
Thank you,
Please,
Dr. Ballard.
Welcome to the Nautilus.
His ship, the Nautilus, never sleeps. Ballard and his team have been out here for 2 weeks, hunting for shipwrecks. A 17-man crew of archaeologists, scientists, and engineers working in shifts around the clock.
We're here to find lost chapters of human history, chapters we've never read before.
How many shipwrecks do you think are down there?
In this area, I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands, along this coast.
That have never been seen?
Never been seen.
The Nautilus is specially designed for deep-sea exploration, armed with state-of-the-art electronics and navigation systems. Ballard's team uses sophisticated underwater sonar to guide them to possible wreck sites they call targets.
There's a target, for example. And
That little dot?
That little dot.
Could be anything?
Exactly. But you can sort of start to figure it out because they have shadows. So if a ship went by, like the Titanic, you'd get a very big target, but then you'd have a very large shadow because it's 100 feet above the bottom. What we're looking for is not the Titanic. We're looking for literally a needle in a haystack. We're looking for very small, ancient ships.
Once Ballard has a target worth exploring, he sends down what he calls his big guns, these 2 remote-controlled vehicles, his eyes under the sea. They descend thousands of feet to the target, using high-definition cameras and powerful search lamps to shed light on a place that has always been in darkness.
We're going to get it this time, guys.
The drama of the hunt plays out here in Bob Ballard's command center aboard the Nautilus.
Bearing 150.
150, drop it out.
His team is particularly interested in what they think is a wreck that they spotted with the sonar.
What's the range, Katie?
20 meters out.
20 meters out. We're closing in.
The crew is glued to the screens.
You might want to come down a couple
Pilots guide the remote-controlled vehicles towards the target, some 1,500 feet below. What do you think you're going to find?
I have my fingers crossed that it's an ancient shipwreck.
In the back of the room, archaeologists stand ready to tell Ballard what he may have found.
All right, let's go find out what this puppy is.
This is the moment of discovery that still thrills Bob Ballard after half a century at sea.
And the anticipation, what is it? Don't know. And you come in and you come in and you think, well, it could be this, it could be that. And then all of a sudden, the veil of darkness in the deep sea, like curtains, just open. And there it is. And you see it for the first time for 2,000 years or whatever. You can get used to that.
How many times have you done that?
Lots.
What's lots?
100 times or more.
100 or more discoveries?
Yes.
Bob Ballard has made some of the greatest deep-sea discoveries of our time.
Look at that swastika.
He found the legendary German battleship Bismarck 3 miles below in the Atlantic. Those are the guns?
Those are the guns, and we almost hit them because we came in very low on the deck, and all of a sudden, first thing we saw of the Bismarck was a barrel of a gun coming right at us.
He also tracked down what's believed to be the remains of PT-109, commanded by John F. Kennedy in World War II. But the one that made him famous was the Titanic. For 73 years, the massive cruise liner sat 2 miles down, more than 12,000 feet of pitch black water, eluding the world's top undersea explorers until 1985, when Bob Ballard came along.
That's the captain's bathtub.
That's his bathtub.
That's his bathtub. Isn't that amazing?
It's kind of eerie.
It is. It's somewhat like going to a haunted house.
The images we're watching are from Ballard's personal library, which he opened for us. He told us what it's like to come face to face with the world's best-known shipwreck.
We turned the corner, and there it was right in front of us.
Right there.
Right there. The bow was 60 feet into the bottom.
60 feet.
Up at the very edge, because it hit with such power, and it bulldozed so much. We rose along the side of the ship, and our lights were hitting the portholes, and they looked like eyes, 100 eyes, like the people who died. It looked like people looking at us.
The fascinating thing about how you found the Titanic is really that this wasn't your mission.
That's correct. Well, it was my mission, but I had to get it paid for.
By someone else.
By the Navy, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The Navy had tasked Bob Ballard with a secret mission to map 2 nuclear submarines lost in the Atlantic during the Cold War, the USS Scorpion and Thresher. They didn't want the Russians to know what they were doing.
Because if you told the Russians, hey, just follow me, they'd put a satellite over the top of me, and they'd see me go out, and they would see me stop. And the moment they saw me stop, and
it would be game over.
I just told them where the submarines are.
The cover for his Navy mission was that he was actually searching for the wreck no one else could find, the Titanic. 3 other expeditions had tried and failed, even though they had months to search. Bob Ballard had just 12 days.
How did you get around that?
I cheated. I basically didn't do the search pattern the way they had done it. See, the traditional approach to searching for something in darkness, because you can't see, is to use a sonar. And you lower this sonar down, and you tow it back and forth, and you mow the lawn. And that's what all 3 of them had done. And I went, well, clearly that's not working.
So Ballard used what he had just learned investigating the Navy subs, that when a vessel sinks, the wreckage is carried by the current, leaving a trail of debris like a comet. Applying that to the Titanic, he decided not to look for the ship itself. Instead, he searched for the trail of debris that he estimated stretched over a mile, a much bigger target. Ballard also expanded the original search area, and instead of using the sonar to slowly comb every inch of the sea floor, as the others had done, he used cameras on a remote-controlled vehicle to hunt visually, spacing his searchlines almost a mile apart.
So I was able to go through the box real quick, and sure enough, I picked up the trail. And as soon as I picked up the trail, I knew exactly, go north. And I walked right into the Titanic.
How could all these experts not have worked that out before you?
They were in the box. They were in the, this is the way you do it.
And you dared go outside the box?
I live outside the box. I'm always outside the box.
The moment of discovery was captured on camera.
It's a boiler! It's like a boiler! Yes.
That's Bob Ballard celebrating.
Our initial reaction was joy, and we jumping up and down, and then someone looked in our control room. We had a clock. And someone looked, and it was 2 in the morning. Someone said, you know, she sinks in 20 minutes, because she sank at 2:20 in the morning, and we went, and we were embarrassed that we were celebrating. And all of a sudden, we realized that we should not be dancing on someone's grave.
The Titanic was the largest man-made moving object on Earth at the time of its sinking, but it was the smallest personal objects scattered across the floor of the North Atlantic that impacted Ballard the most.
And all that's left of human signature are their shoes. And all around the Titanic are pairs of shoes. Mother's shoes next to daughter's shoes, men's shoes, crew members. These are the tombstones.
Where they died?
Where they died, where their body was actually laying on the bottom of the ocean. And that's their tombstone.
So did it take you a while before you could talk about these things?
It did. Actually, I didn't want to, I was hit by it. Now, I wasn't expecting to be hit by it. See, I went in there, you know, totally under control.